Hi there, my Facebook friends. Greetings from Arcadia, Florida. That's where I'm at today. So I'm on a travel busy schedule. I'm going to just give it a few minutes for everyone to join us and for me to share something really personal today that I thought for sure I would never ever share. So I'm going to have a principle I'm going to teach you guys, but the best principles are taught through life experience. So hi everyone, good to see you guys. Look at you guys. It is 1:30. Let's see, we're in Eastern time. It is April 19th. It is my birthday today, and I thought what better day to pick than today to teach this principle. And here's why. As I have grown in life and aged, of course, approaching 40 next year, I thought, too often we waste so much time worrying about our past mistakes, worrying about what if someone finds out? What if I were to ever share this, and what would people possibly think of me? Have you guys ever thought about that? Have you ever spent a lot of energy trying to hide past failures, past mistakes, because you're so worried about what someone might think of you? Well, I decided through prayer and just really thinking about this principle that I'm going to share something that I have planned on how I really thought, this is just so embarrassing. I'm just never going to teach out of this lesson. But today I'm going to. And I really think that if you're going to put these two things together, this principle that I want to teach you today for life and business, okay? Because I cannot teach you something out of business principles without including life. Many of you that are watching me here today run an at-home business. Whether it is, in direct sales, maybe you're with a multi-level marketing company, maybe you're in a consumer direct market, whatever it is. It doesn't even matter, because this principle will apply to whatever you do. Now, the best way to comprehend and really retain a principle is to turn around and teach it, okay? That's the very best way of teaching, is being taught and then turning around and teaching it. So that's why I always ask you guys, comment, share, like, because that's how we grow. That's how we grow, by learning and teaching others. So the lesson today is that this principle that I thought for a long time, that life experience is our best teacher, I truly disagree with. I thought for the longest time that it's true, but I don't think it is. Because how many of you, listen guys, how many of you have done things in life over and over again just to find out you're failing again? You're making the same mistake over and over again. You're doing something and you go, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. And then you do it again and you do it again. Whether it is in finances, with weight loss, all of these things. And yet we're experiencing life and we're not learning from it. So the true message actually is this. Experience only will teach us when we stop and evaluate it. Evaluated life experience is our best teacher. Remember that. Evaluated life experience is our best teacher, so you have to stop and reflect. So let's start with business. Before I share with you my very private story that I'm going to share here in just a minute, I want to share with you first to get you thinking about your business, okay? I want you to think about, and now you can apply this to business and to life. I want you to think about, if you're working from home, most likely you have to pick up the phone and make contacts, right? You have to pick up the phone, you have to talk to someone, you have to schedule an appointment to share whatever it is that you're doing. Again, whatever business you're in, it doesn't really matter. That's not the topic here today. But what if you are really good at scheduling an appointment? However, the appointment doesn't follow through, and you're finding that you're running into a lot of no-shows. And you're doing the principle, you're doing the activity over and over again, but if you don't stop and reflect, you're going to find very quickly discouragement, frustration, And eventually you're going to have this feeling of, you know what, I probably just have to quit because it's not working for me. But what you're not doing is you're not stopping, you're not reflecting, and you're not really getting the help that you need to change something about the activity that you're doing. And that's very, very important in life as well as in business. Because let's think about this, right? Last week I talked about having a why and making a decision is what's going to be necessary for you to get unstuck. Many of you have messaged me privately and said, oh my gosh, that was a clicking moment for me. I've had a why, I've had a decision, but I never really brought the two of them together. And now I get it. Now I understand why I'm stuck. So if you've done that, and if you're now participating in that principle, let's go a step further and use this next principle of really evaluating, stopping, reflecting, and then choosing to grow from that. Let's think about someone that has wanted to lose weight. How many of you, just give me thumbs up if you've ever been part of a diet? Just like show me thumbs up if you've ever tried to lose weight and you have done a diet, or you wanted to do one, or you've done one and you failed at it. I mean, look at all those thumbs going up, right? And so you've done it, maybe you participated for 2 weeks and then you failed. And then you went, oh, well, that didn't work, right? And then a few months go by and your pants are not quite fitting, and maybe the summer season is coming and you're going, you know what? I got to do this again. So you go on to the next diet and you try it again, and then 2 weeks into it, you fail again. And I would like to know how many of you have done this over and over and over again, just to fail over and over again. And here's one thing that you're probably not doing. You're probably not really stopping and asking yourself, why am I quitting? Why am I not pulling through? Why am I not pushing through? I want this, but why am I not doing it? How about finances? How about finances? Now, for us in the past, we've been into debt. We got bailed out. We ended up doing like a zero loan, or, get the house more maxed out, and we get out of debt and we say to ourselves, we're never going to do this again, just to find ourselves in a year to be in the same place, all over in debt again. And then we say, oh my gosh, we got to get out of this, and we get bailed out, and we say we don't do it again, and then we do it again and again and again. So here's the thought, you guys. Life experience is not our teacher, because if life experience was our teacher, we should all be super smart by now, because we've all experienced life. How about wanting to grow as a person? How many of you have picked up a book? Now, please, I would love to see thumbs up if you've ever done this. You've picked up a book and you said, you know what, I'm going to read this whole book and I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow. And you read a chapter or two, and then you close the book and you put it on your nightstand. Eventually you have dust on there, and then you move it to the bookshelf and you never touch that book again. And then you go to the next conference and you hear about another book and you buy it. And then you go, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to grow, and I'm going to really invest into myself to read again 1 or 2 chapters. And you do the same thing again and again and again. Now listen, that is life experience. If life experience was our teacher, we should all have changed and do something different. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why am I not finishing this book? Why am I not following this getting out of debt plan? Why am I not sticking with this diet? Most likely you don't stop and ask. Most likely you're not stopping and evaluating the situation and really asking yourself, why? So now I'm going to get to my story, and I'm sure many of you are wondering, what the heck does Irma have to share? What could be so embarrassing that she held on to for, good 20 years? And you guys know me. If you've been in my marriage class, if you are a part of my business, I've shared things about my life. And, this is one of those stories that I really didn't think I would ever share. But I'm going to tell you why I chose to share this story today. First and foremost, the reason that I'm sharing this today is because I want you to understand that when you look at people on the outside, whether you sit with them at church, whether you're seeing them on the baseball field, whether you see them at PTO, just because they look picture perfect on the outside, they're probably hurting on the inside. Many people today lead a double life. They lead a life that they're ashamed of, and they're trying to hide it because they feel judged. The reason I'm choosing to share this is because the more honest and open you get, the more you actually are raw and real, the more likely people will open up to you and trust you. The other reason that I share is this: I'm not ashamed of my past anymore, because I have experienced forgiveness and I've experienced redemption. So I have chosen to embrace my past mistakes and failures and to teach others from my own past mistakes and failures, because those have become some of the most valuable lessons that we can share. The other reason I share is because it keeps me extremely humble. It reminds me of where I came from and where I'm heading and what victories I have experienced already along the way. If I try to hide and to cover up, it will make me forget who I was and where I came from. Remembering my past and sharing these stories will keep me personally extremely humble. Our stories, your story, your failures, your mistakes, if you learn from them and if you change from them, will inspire others. That is why I choose to share. The other reason I'm sharing is because I want you to listen to the story. And I'm wondering how many of you are trying to cover up past mistakes and past failures, and you're so afraid of judgment, and yet there's a beautiful redemption story waiting to happen. Not just for yourself, but for somebody else in your life, for somebody who you could touch, somebody who you could inspire to change. So here we go. As a young child in kindergarten, I remember going to the store. I think I was about 5 years old. I went there with my brother, and we walked through the store, and we didn't have any extra money. And so my brother said, you know what? We should just pick up that pack of gum and just run outside. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? Nobody's looking. Let's just go ahead and grab the gum and take off. And I'm sure many of you here listening, you have stolen a pack of gum or some candy, or maybe, a pack of balloons from the store when you were little kids. Well, it didn't stop there. Through our teen years and through the suffering and the stuff that was happening in our lives, our parents falling apart and just being poor, and really, really poor, to the point where groceries were an issue when we were teenagers, my sister and I would go to the stores after school, and we would shoplift. And we got really, really good at it. I mean, we were pros. We didn't even need the stuff. It became a thrill, and we just went to the store every single day. This was back when I lived in Germany, and we were pretty professional thieves. There was a point when I was about 15 years old, and we were pretty bold in our shoplifting time, that both my sister and I were caught. And the police came and they picked us up, and, we were sitting in the police car, and it did not faze us at all. I mean, fazed us at all. We were laughing, we were giggling. In my mind at that time, I didn't see a need for change. I did not even see myself as a thief. I thought, oh, well, you know what? What are they going to do to us? We're kids. My mom has to come and pick us up. Her life is a mess. What is she going to teach us? We were brats. And the police officers were so frustrated with us because we showed zero remorse. I mean, we were brats. So we were at the police station. It took a little while for my mom to come and pick us up. And really, as she picked us up and, she tried to talk to us, we were just laughing it off. Didn't faze us a bit. Now remember, the lesson here today is this. Life experience is not our best teacher unless we stop and we evaluate. Now fast forward, I'm 18 years old, I'm getting married, I moved to the States, and at 19, I became a mom. Noah was born, the greatest joy of my life. My husband was working many, many hours, and we were really struggling financially. I mean, we were really just poor, and we lived in Maine at the time, and I had no friends, no family. except, for my husband's family. And we had no money, and our son was growing, and I was pretty lonely. And so I would go to the store, and I just thought, I'm going to walk around and, no money. And I just remembered, it was pretty easy back as a teenager to just pick up things. And so I started little by little to shoplift again. Now I was married. I was a churchgoer. I was a mom. I was in church every Sunday. And so I started, one at a time, little by little. And Noah was growing, and it was the fall, and we needed clothes. And so I went to the outlet stores in Freeport, and I started at one store, and I stole quite a bit of clothing, packed it up all in my car, went to the next store, did it again, and I didn't really think about it. I justified it in my brain. You know what? We're poor. We don't have money. They've got a lot of clothes here. And I walked over to the Gap, and I remembered people looking kind of suspicious at me. And I thought, oh my gosh, are they watching me? And so I remember stealing one more thing, and I walked out the store. And as I was walking towards my car, I saw a police officer coming my way. And you guys, in that moment, life stood still. And I threw what I stole underneath my car, pretending I didn't take it. And the police officer came towards me, and he said, "Ma'am, what did you just throw under your car?" And I was caught. I was caught right smack in my ugly sin. He asked me to open up my trunk. I opened up my trunk, and there was all the clothing. He asked for receipts, and of course I couldn't produce it. And he said, "Ma'am, please be honest with me. I can help you." You guys, I wanted to disappear. In that moment, I just wanted to disappear from life. I was so embarrassed. I had my baby next to me. I was a mom. I was a churchgoer. And here I was caught shoplifting. And he said, "Ma'am, I have to take you to the police station. You stole quite a bit here." And so I had to take the car seat out of the car, strapped it in the police car. He didn't handcuff me. I free will went into the police car, and I was taken to the police station. Noah, looked confused. He wasn't even one yet. I was crying, and I really, really believed this police officer was an angel. He was kind, but he fingerprinted me. He gave me my number to hold, and I had my picture taken at the police station. And I remember in that moment, life stopped for me, and I began to reflect and to think. And I remember sitting there in the police station, and for the first time, I called myself what I was. I was a thief. I began to get really honest with myself, and I said, "Irma, you are a thief. You're not poor. You don't have the right to steal. You're a thief. Look at your son. His mom is a thief." I wonder how many of you right now are in a situation in life, and you're in so much denial that you're not calling yourself the truth. And that's why you can't change, because you're not speaking the truth to yourself. The next thing I had to do is I had to get really real with myself. And I had to make a decision, evaluating my experience in that moment, which I did. And I thought, no way do I want my son to grow up with a mom that's a criminal. I need to change. And I have to do the tough thing right now. And the tough thing was, I need to go to all those stores, and I need to apologize for what I did. Now, the police officer did not ask me to do that. But in my heart, I knew that if I wanted to change, if I wanted my life to change, if I want this experience to be a life-changing experience, I better do the right thing. What is it that you are going through right now? If you got really honest, if you said, "This is who I am, and I need to change," what is the next step you're going to have to do? And so I did. He let me go. I was on bail, and I went to each and every one of those stores. It was 5 stores, you guys. 5 stores. And I walked in and I asked for the manager. And under tears, I repented and I apologized. 2 stores threw me out. Doing the right thing will be hard. It's not always easy. They told me you're never welcome in the store again. 3 of the managers embraced me and forgave me. And so I drove home. And now I had to face my husband. How do I tell my husband that his wife is a thief and I was just caught shoplifting? But I did. And then the third thing is, you may have to pay the price when you begin to walk the path of change. My price that I had to pay, court fees, lawyer fees, I had to do community work. Those were all tough things. But you guys, in that moment when I began to really, really evaluate my life experience as a thief, and when I called myself the truth of who I was, and when I began to really look the truth in the face, and I stopped the walk of denying myself and being in denial, that's when life experience became my greatest teacher. So my question to you today is this: will you let life experience just pass you by and you're thinking that you're going to learn from it and it's going to change you? Or are you willing to stop, pause, reflect, evaluate, and call the truth the truth? What is it that you're in denial of right now? What is it that you need to do to change in order to move forward? When you begin to do that and you reflect, that's when life is going to become your greatest lesson. The next step, apply what you learned. I will tell you guys this: that was my very last time I stole anything. My life as a thief, was over. But I will tell you something else. Our past mistakes sometimes will haunt us. And here's my lesson for you: do not be ashamed. I was so afraid that anyone would ever find out. I was so afraid and so embarrassed that I was trying so hard to cover up. Here's my suggestion to you 20 years later. Let your greatest mistakes become your greatest teaching moments. Embrace it, learn from it, and teach someone else. When you do that and when you get really real, here's what happens. Your experience, your life experience, your evaluated life experience will help someone else begin to walk the path of freedom. I wonder how many people watching this video today or weeks to come will listen to this message and will say this: you know what? If Irma did this, if she decided to get real, if she decided to get honest with herself, maybe I can do the same thing. Remember who I was. I was the 19-year-old girl sitting in church. Don't ever underestimate who you're sitting next to in the church pews. But here's the thing: people are so afraid of opening up because you might look too perfect to them. They might not want to open up because your life looks too perfect. And why should they share their pain and suffering with you if you never share your life experience with them? You want to grow in business? You want to become a leader of influence? Be real about your life. Be real about your mistakes. Share with others what you have overcome and give glory to God Yahweh when He comes down and redeems us. You guys, when you do that and you walk a path that's real and raw and honest, and you're not afraid of telling the truth of who you were and who you are today, other people will reach out to you and say, I have something to share with you. Can you help me? And there's open doors, there's opportunities for you to take a moment and be part of changing someone's life. Do you know how precious that is? That is so beautiful because it has so much more value than you looking picture perfect on Facebook. Get real, my friends. Be willing to be honest. Be willing to be changed. And when you're changed and when you have walked this path of freedom, you will inspire so many more to do the same thing, not just in life, but also in business. If you are working from home, if you have an at-home business and you're feeling stuck, sit down today and evaluate why. Why am I being stuck? What is it that I'm doing that's not working? Reach out and get help. There are so many people that are willing to help. And then make the decision to grow. But you've got to find out why you're doing it or why you're not doing it, and then you have a chance to move forward. Let me ask you guys for a favor. If this message helped you, if it inspired you for change, like, comment, and share. When you share it, someone else will get a message of hope. I've received many messages last week of people that I'm not connected with, and they've had major breakthrough because some of you took a message and you shared it on your Facebook. They watched it, they listened, they applied, and lives are being changed. Be a voice of hope, be a voice of change. And you guys, today on my birthday, I feel more free than ever. I have shared one of my most embarrassing stories of my life, knowing that I will not be judged, but it will inspire change. Thank you guys. I love you. Greetings from Arcadia, Florida. Have a fantastic day and have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye, you guys.